talking with Casey Seyfert, principal and track coach, particularly in charge of the throwers at Beloit High School. Casey, to say that the throwers are doing this well this year is an understatement.
I would agree. We're off to a great start, and we've had good weather, which always helps too to start us off on the right track. But we got a lot of kids, and they're doing well. And every day we practice, they push each other. And you can't. I think we have 25 throwers on the team right now in the 3 events. So with that many throwers, like every day, you better do your best, or somebody's going to try to pass you.
Before we talk about the team and the KU relays, I'll talk a little bit about the Seyfert family. You won both shot put discus in high school. Grady won both shot put discus in high school, and Tatum has won both shot put and discus. So it's a family affair. Kind of talk about the Seyfert family and how the old track and field got started in the Seyfert family years and years ago.
Well, back in the day, I started track because Coach Caldwell was there, and I liked hanging out with him. I didn't know much about it, and I wasn't very good early, but you stick with something over and over again, you kind of fall in love with it, and it worked out, and I got to throw in college, and then I coached at Hayes High for my first 6 years before moving here, and I took my children with me to practice, and they've always come with me, and they've always I'm not going to say I forced them to throw, but while they're there watching throws, they don't have anything else to do, so they might as well get in there and do that a little bit. So that's kind of how they started. It was just by habit of got to sit here and do something, I might as well chuck something.
Well, Coach, talk about the Beloit Lady Trojans and their dominance. They've scored 143 times this year in Clay Center, Concordia, and Smith Center meets. It's very rarely, no more than I do about it, but I myself have gotten fired up about your track teams, especially the girls, and the boys have done very, very well. But when you're reading off results on the radio and you see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in the shot put discus and 2 in the javelin, you know your team's pretty good.
Yes, in the throws, and they've been around forever. That's the nice thing. We have a good mix of seniors, but also some sophomores that are coming up. We got a couple juniors sprinkled in there, and so it's nice to be that deep, and it's also nice to have that competition every day so that they can compete against each other. And when we go to meets, we know I want to beat the other guy from Beloit, so we move up, and so it turns into a personal battle every day. So that you can't ask for more than that.
As we talk about first the shot put, we have senior Tatum Seyfert and senior Addie Butke, who are ironically 1 and 2 in the state, and that's not just 3A, that's all class. And then we have Eli Johnson and Brody Boudreau, who Brody uncorked one the other day and had a personal best. Talk about, first of all, your team, the shot put abilities, and then kind of talk about the technique of throwing the shot.
We'll start with the girls, Tatum and Addie. We've been coaching them since the Flyers in 3rd grade, and so they've always thrown, and it's been really nice. They're good friends. They're both sweet, sweet kids, and so I enjoy it. Tatum's a spinner, and Addie's a glider, and so we teach it a little differently. And then on the guy side, you have Eli and Brody, who seniors been around. They're both over 55 this year, which is tremendous. Brody Litton's coming on. He went 52 last year, and he hit 50 a couple times in practice already. I feel like he's getting ready to pop a huge one. Griff Johnson's freshman, but he's been throwing well since he could walk, I think. And with Griff, he's been over 52 this year, but he'll also hit some big practice throws. But talking about technique, it's like we have half of them are spinning and half of them are gliding, and it just depends on what works best for their body type. We try a little bit of everything. I know Brody Boudreau tried to spin a little bit last year, and it didn't click, so he went back to gliding, and he got 6th place in the state, and he's throwing 55 this year, which is it would win state most years. This year's pretty tough sledding for everyone. Tatum started spinning in 7th grade, and she just picked it up, and it worked. And it's one of those, some kids pick it up. Addie's so busy doing other events and playing volleyball, and so she's got great levers, and the glide works for her body type, and she's just super explosive. So it's kind of neat how that happens. Brody Litton's long, and so if you look at the kids, Eli, super tall kid, but has been spinning forever. His older siblings were throwers, and so when you have grown up with the spin, that's sometimes just what you do. And Griff, cousin, picked it up in junior high, and it's working well. And we have some other kids, younger freshmen. Cross Kimmer is starting to spin this year, but it just takes some time. Jace Jones is spinning, and we have a few other young ones that are gliding. And so you have Kohler Isabel, he's still gliding, but that works for him. So it just depends on the kid and where it goes.
As we look at the field event discus, Tatum Seyfert and Eli Johnson, both seniors, have tremendous form and events. Talk a little bit about your two seniors, especially in the discus, and what makes the discus so tough to get it flattened out so to throw a big mark out there.
Well, I will say that they've been throwing for a long time, and Eli has levers like you wouldn't believe. And so, the longer the lever, the longer the pull, and it's all physics. We talk about that a lot. We always say cross-curricular instruction right there. So we throw in physics with PE. But, Tatum's doesn't have as long the levers, and so she's working on being faster. And so Eli has a pretty natural quickness to him, so he gets a little bit of combo of both. But he's over 184 in the discus, which is just a monster throw. Tatum's over 138 this year in a tough win, so I feel like she's getting ready to pop a huge one as well. But we have some other kids, and the body types are different. You have Sam Thompson, who's pretty short, but she's really quick, so that's what she uses. Her sister's Cass Thompson, who's longer, and it's just a different technique. And Allison Beisner and Landry Litton are two freshmen that are throwing. They're doing a nice job and Allison's going to be long. She's tall, and so when she figures out how to get that pull, it'll take off. You got Brody Boudreaux in the discus along with Griff, and they're not quite as tall as Eli and Brody Litton, so they're faster in the ring. So every kid has a little different spin. It's not one size fits all, and you kind of got to make it fit to what's best for them.
Well, Coach, the javelin, in my opinion, is probably the hardest in technique because of what it does to your shoulder, and used to scare the hell out of me, quite frankly, for some of my setters at Kensington. Talk about the technique of the javelin and who you got throwing this year on the Beloit Lady Trojan and Trojan javelin throwers.
Yeah, I would agree with you on it can be scary because if you do it wrong, you lose your elbow instantly, and so we take that pretty slow when it's cool out, and we wait. As it gets warmer, we'll throw more in practice, and so early on we've had a few nice days. We've got a few more throws in, but you got to run with the thing, you got to pull it back, and then you got to fire it straight. That's a lot of moving parts, and you want to get them going in the same direction. So Addie Budke and Autumn Lorenz have both thrown well. Autumn's thrown over 124 already. Addie's at 120. Last year they both threw over 130 and qualified for state, so they had good marks coming in. They're going to throw at KU. Sam Thompson, Cassandra Thompson, both are good throwers, and they have good technique, and it just sometimes it hits and sometimes it doesn't. That's the frustration with the javelin. You can throw two great throws and the next one might go 20 feet and out of bounds. So it just depends on how you hit it and if everything's clean together. On the guys side, we got a pretty young crew, but we're led by a great senior. Brooks Jones is outstanding as a leader, but also as a teacher, and so it's hard to be in three places at once. So I try to go where the masses are. I try to get to the javelin, but I know that Brooks is over there working them through drills and teaching them the correct fundamentals. He hit 195 yesterday, which is just a tremendous throw, 1 foot off the school record. So I'm really hoping he can hit that and get past the school record. But John Lomax is just a sophomore, but he went 175 last year, which is an absolute bomb for a sophomore. I mean, that's a tremendous throw. Yeah, you have a few other kids in there. Charlie Burke's learning it and figuring it out. Caleb Porter's going through it, figuring it out. And so as a young thrower, Jace Jones is in there, Marley Lewis is in there. We're pretty deep. And so those young throwers can watch a kid like Brooks throw, and as he gets better and better, he teaches them, they watch him, they figure it out, and then they get better. And I always go back to, when Brooks was a freshman, we were hoping to get to 115, and now he's at 195. And so hard work, watching film, paying attention, doing drills, all that stuff, it eventually your body figures it out and it starts working out, and then all of a sudden they're watching you, and so it's been impressive.
Well, even the people that don't know what particular track and field meets are happening, when you hear that a kid's going to KU relays or pre-state, you know that they're pretty darn good. Tell us about what states come to the KU relays and what marks have to be thrown to be there this weekend of the KU relays.
So the KU Relays is kind of the elite track meet in the Midwest, and so we have lots of Nebraska, lots of Missouri, Oklahoma kids come. We'll get a few from Iowa. Honestly, we'll probably throw against more out-of-state kids than we will Kansas kids, because you have to qualify. Qualifying in the shot put's 50 foot, and while that's a pretty solid mark, there have been many years when we've been trying to find one 50-footer, and so to have us have 4 boys in the guys shot put is just unheard of, and pretty special. As a coach, I'm very, very special. So you have Eli, you have Brody Boudreaux, you have Brody Litton, and Griff Johnson are all throwing at KU this weekend. On the girls' side, to have 2 tremendous kids, Tatum and Addie are throwing. They've both been over 42. Tatum went 45, 10.5 last year, and so we're looking to go there, and it's not only exciting to be there, but we want to make finals. We want to be in the money and do some damage there. And so to get in on the girls is about 38 feet, and it's a tough get. And so to have 6 shot putters there, very proud of our kids and their hard work and how much they've put into track and field.
Coach, talk about the discus, the young ladies and men that will be competing in the discus and at the KU Relays, and what the qualifying marks are.
In the discus, we have Eli Johnson and then Tatum Seyfert in that. I thought we might be able to sneak a couple others in, but it's a tough get. And so in the guys discus, 150, 155 is the cut. They don't tell us the cuts because they take the top 24 in the area, and so the area is a large area. And then in the girls, usually it's 125 to 130. It just depends on the year, but that's where we got cut on this one. And so one of the great things about KU is there's a young man from Missouri that will be throwing there. I'm going to label him the greatest high school thrower ever. He's just a junior, but last year he threw 76 in the shot put and over 200 in the discus. And so for our kids to get to see him, his parents, by the way, both threw in the Olympics in the shot put and were multiple times national champions in college. So good genetic stock there. But for our kids to get to see him, that's once ever. No one's thrown as far as he has, and so I'm excited for that.
Coach, talk about the javelin a little bit, qualifying marks, and who will be there for you in the javelin.
In the girls' javelin, we're going to take Autumn Lorenz, and we're going to take Addie Budke. Qualifying marks, 125 to 130 in the girls' javelin, and it is tough. Several years, the winner will throw 175. They bring the best javelin throwers from everywhere. Not every state has the javelin, so it's a little deeper pool because you want to find good meets. And then on the guys' side, Brooks Jones qualified last year with his 180 plus throw, and then this year, following up with a 195. So he should be sitting pretty good. Usually it'll take about 205 to 210 to win it. To qualify, 175, right around in there. So hopefully, John Lomax can continue this year and maybe get there next year.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time today. Best of week. Exciting to be a Lady Trojan or Trojan on the track and field team, and the sky is the limit for this team.
All right. Hey, I appreciate everything, and hopefully we keep throwing far. That's the name of the game.
It's been John Bowden for Katy Country 94 Sports.